Mountain of Mirrors, an endless quest book. Walking in single file, you head toward the river. The sound of rushing water grows louder as you push your way through the mushroom forest. Standing on the bank of the river, you watch the murky water churn past. Large chunks of ice spin and bob around in the current. You talk with your friends about the best way to get across the river. No one voted to jump in and swim across. No adventurous drowners today. Let's see if your raft plan worked. Your party spreads out through the forest, looking for dead mushroom stalks. You drag the stalks back to the river's edge. Collecting leather vests from everyone in the party wearing one, you carefully slice the vests into strips, and then you construct a crude raft by weaving the leather strips, your rope, and the tough mushroom stalks all together. You hack down several live mushrooms to complete the raft and to use as oars for the dangerous crossing. At last, your raft is ready. Everyone gets on board, but Nigel's last, grinning nervously as he tests the flooring on the floor of the raft. It doesn't leak, does it? Oh, I can't stand wet paws, you know. Is it safe? How do I know we won't sink? Dear, oh dear. Maybe I should stay on dry land? Nigel worries and frets until finally you pull a large mushroom cap from the raft. Here, sit in this. It'll keep your fur nice and dry. Nigel steps gingerly into the mushroom cap, twitching his whiskers nervously, and before the lynx can change his mind, you push the raft away from the bank. The wild current automatically grabs at the raft and starts to whirl and drag it downstream. Using the mushroom stems as oars, you fight the current as best you can, and the ice flows. Slowly you edge your way across the river. The other shore is in sight, and quite close, when a giant ice floe appears out of the gloom, headed directly for the raft. You and your companions push and row as fast as you can. The ice floe catches the edge of your raft and tilts one corner up until all of you are clinging to the very edge of the raft. Grinding, tearing, and howling noises fill the air. With a body jarring thump, the raft crashes back down on the water. As the ice flows whirly and wildly past, you discover that two of the mushroom stalks at the end of the raft have been ripped off. You all paddle wildly to get the party to shore before the raft can sink beneath icy waters. Making a quick head count, you see that everyone is safe and accounted for, except Nigel. It must have been he who howled when the raft tilted. The mushroom cap with the links inside must have slid off into the water. As if in answer to your unspoken question, a great, unhappy yowling comes out of the darkness from the other bank. You row as fast as you can towards the sound. The raft strikes something hard and wedges between two rocks. Scrambling off the half-submerged raft, a curious sight meets your eyes. You start to laugh uncontrollably. Soon humans, halflings, and elves are all roaring with laughter at the sight of the wet and bedraggled lynx. Nigel still sits in the mushroom cap, but is most definitely not happy. I don't see anything funny, sniffs Nigel. Some people don't like heights. Some ignorant souls are even afraid of cats. I simply don't like water. It's perfectly understandable. Water drips from his nose, his ears, and his body, forming a very large puddle inside of the mushroom cap. Nigel steps out of the soggy cap, shaking each foot quite violently, and then proceeds to lick himself dry. You walk to a large rock by the edge of the shore and peer over it to scout out the territory. What you see makes you freeze with fright. There's a vast plain that stretches before you. A few mushrooms still stand, but most have been chopped down and used for the fires that dot the plain, as you can see. Camped round the fires are scores of goblins, ogres, and orcs, gobbling their evening meal. Landon, I don't think we stand a chance of getting by them. whispers one of the halflings. There's just too many monsters. One of the humans nervously fingers his knife and says, We'll never get through that camp. Let's leave now before they find us. There's got to be another way. As you're discussing your situation, loud cheering and yelling breaks out from the monster camp. Peeking over the rock again, you see a terrible sight. A feeble old halfling has been pushed into a clearing in the camp. He is shaking with exhaustion and fear. He stands surrounded by the mocking monsters. Some are staring upward and shouting, Here, Fang! Dinner time! Here, Fang! An orc tosses a spear to the halfling, and a goblin throws in an axe. They taunt him by yelling, Pick him up! Entertain us, you skinny runt! Let's have a little action! The feeble halfling continues to stare at his feet rather than picking up the weapons. Slowly he falls to the ground in a heap next to them. Bored, some of the monsters start to pelt the unfortunate prisoner with small rocks and bones. Get up, cry the monsters. Fight for your life. You want to be dragon chow? A great wind stirs the air, and the flapping of huge wings drowns out any sound of screaming monsters. The dragon is coming. Vote 1 if you choose to leap out and attempt to rescue the halfling. Vote 2 if you choose not to rescue the halfling, but try to use the commotion to escape instead. Or 3 if you push the raft back into the water and try to cross back to the other side. Again, vote 1 if you choose to leap out and attempt to rescue the halfling from the monsters and dragon. Vote 2 if you choose to use the commotion to escape instead. And vote 3 if you choose to push the raft back into the river and try to cross to the other side. You have a wonderful, blessed day. See you next week.